Trombonist Miff Mole is known for his technical virtuosity, but in return for making it all sound so easy, he is sometimes written off as a creative force. There can be a strange sort of reverse snobbery in the jazz world. Don't be polished, don't be professional, and don't be prepared. Irving Milfred Mole doesn't exactly look like a wild jazz man either, but speaking as someone who probably looked more at home in a teacher's staff room than a smoky nightclub, I certainly won't be holding that against him. Some of Mole's solos are planned. I've discussed in a previous video how many of the jazz greats routine to their solos, including Armstrong and Hawkins, so that isn't surprising. A Mole composition like Slippin' Around is a showcase along the lines of Armstrong's Cornet Chop Suey, rather than being a melody for copious embellishment. I've also seen 2 original Roger Wolf Kahn orchestrations, each with trombone solos written out for Miff. One of these he recorded note for note, while the other he ignored entirely. He was clearly a master improviser, as well as a fearsome technician. Musicians have been eagerly discussing Miff's solos on the 3 takes of Hurricane by Red and Miff's Stompers for years. Today I'd like to take a look at these 3 solos, as I think they demonstrate just how exciting and spontaneous Miff's playing can be. Here's Miff's solo from Take A. Listen out for his characteristic 8th note lines, large interval jumps, and allusions to the original melody. And now here's Take B. Similar in shape at the beginning, later on it really diverges with a lot more deft sliding between notes. Finally, here's Take C. By this stage, most musicians would be taking it easy in order to avoid a possible Take D, but Mole's 3rd solo is even more adventurous. Note especially the semiquaver run during the bridge. In comparing these 3 solos, it becomes obvious that Mole predominantly uses 4 or 2-bar phrases. He begins each solo with a similar low passage, although Take B differs slightly. Thereafter there are small changes in rhythm and articulation. The second 8-bar section takes off into a rapid-fire passage of 8th notes, but the detail differs in each case. By the time we reach bar 13, there are big differences in the shapes of the phrases. The bridge is where things get really exciting. Mole isn't content to play it safe, and instead seems to become wilder with each take. Similarities between the takes are much rarer here. Bars 21 to 24 offer the climax of each take, although Mole's methods for achieving this peak vary from climbing into the high register in Take A, to sliding around surprisingly in Take B, and dazzling with fast runs in Take C. As bar 25 begins, Mole gets things back onto a similar track for takes B and C, with his variations guided by a clear desire to outline the falling line from C to B flat to A flat, following the chords. From bar 29, Mole echoes the rhythm of the melody line before ending each solo on the 3rd, not the simpler tonic. His solitary mistake in the entirety of these 3 solos occurs when he momentarily plays over Red's break during take B, And even then, it's a lapse in concentration rather than control. Most trombonists couldn't have pulled off one of these solos, let alone all three in a row. It doesn't sound like he's taking risks, because they aren't risks to him. Miff Mole's trombone playing throughout the 1920s demonstrates a remarkable balance between instrumental mastery and musical creativity. He doesn't play like Kid Ory, or Charlie Green, or Jack Teagarden, or J.C. Higginbotham, but that's just what makes him special. Like a tightrope walker, we are transfixed by his deft high-wire antics. They're entertaining as a spectacle, even though we feel certain he'll pull them off without catastrophe. But just imagine trying to do it yourself. Terrifying.